Hello there. Welcome to a fresh episode of the program Last Week in Nigeria. My name is Emmanuel Uriu. Don't forget, on this program, we'll bring to you stories that made the headlines through the national dailies the previous week. And don't forget, you can also follow us on all our social media handles using at Last Week in Nigeria. Our website is www.lastweekinnigeria.com. On our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, drop your comments, and you'll definitely get the notification when next we drop a fresh episode. Let's begin this way. So many stories were reported last week in Nigeria, majorly that has to do with the protests. The protest was held for the 1st of August to the 10th of August. But so many stories from different angles were reported by national dailies in different shades. Nationwide protest fallout, senators, reps, politicians desert Abuja, travel abroad. Of course, we saw that mammoth crowd at the Lagos International Airport, where we saw so many people, so many VIPs who were jetting out of the country. In fear of what? The almighty protest tagged #EndBadGovernance. We'll get to delve more into this because on this episode of the program, I'll be bringing up a guest who is going to be talking to us from an angle that we should have known, but well, maybe because we don't have proper knowledge, he's going to school us what we are expected to see or what we should have expected to see as regard the protests. More stories for you. This day newspaper reported last week 3 days to nationwide protest. Nigerians still divided on action. That's the way the This Day newspaper captioned it last week. Hardship, police protests, organizers dig in. That's the way the Vanguard newspaper captioned it. The most interesting part of it is the fact that Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Sunday morning, the 4th of August, addressed the nation in a nationwide broadcast. And all that I can trickle into that particular broadcast in speech is that he called for calm, asked them to consider the dialogue that is going to help us judge and bring up a better society, a better nation. And he also reeled out a lot of achievements in terms of his activities in the last 14 months that he has been in the saddle. All of that are there for you to consume, comment. Let's have your opinion, what you feel about the speech of Mr. President, just like you can see. Mr. President there addressing Nigerians. And of course, we hope that things will get better. When I come back, we'll be talking to a guest on this program who will be telling us what a protest should be like, because he has been in the saddle taking care of so many youths in this nation. I'll be back after this time out. Don't forget, it pays to advertise your goods and services on this program at Last Week in Nigeria. You can reach the whole world in one breath. I'll be back shortly.
Thinking about high quality and long-lasting products? Think Mayshop, an online store serving parents and children in Nigeria and globally. Log on to www.mayshop.com to place your orders now.
Mayshop Online Store, your #1 online children's store in Nigeria and globally. We offer nationwide delivery. Mayshop Online Store, great styles at the best prices for your babies and kids.
For more information about us, you may chat with us on WhatsApp web chat or call us at 0805 551 5736 or 0805 551 5649 and speak to our friendly customer service representatives. Visit our website www.mayshop.com.
Glad to have you back. It's still Last Week in Nigeria. Like I told you earlier, on this episode we'll be having a guest. And my guest happens to be a student union leader in the 90s. And I'm talking about someone who held the position as a student union leader in the 90s during the military region, the former organizing secretary of the Good Governance Group, also former president of the Nigeria Youth Coalition, and of course a full member Amnesty International. I'm talking about Dr. Levy Moyo. Good to have you on this program, Dr. Levy.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I'm very happy to be here.
And I want to appreciate you so much. Despite your state of health, you were able to at least make it to the studio.
Yeah.
It took us a lot to bring him down to the studio because he's a bit under the weather, but well, somebody who is passionate about Nigeria, passionate about what he stands for. I was able to at least use that to pull him through to the studio.
You can say that's love for country.
Yeah, love for country. Of course, going by this protest, and I'm sure in your bed you must have been worried that I wish I had the energy to still talk to these youth and let them understand how to go about it. What's your making of all this protest in the last few days?
Normally, Emmanuel, if I was not on bed, I would be on the streets. But I would say it's in the blood. But you see, the way I've seen the protests in the last 2 or 3 days now, I believe that this protest has not been organized well. You see, there are global standards, global best practices for protests. If you want to do any protest, you want to plan. This one is a planned protest. There are protests that have not been planned in the past. When we were in the Students' Union, in the Federal University of Technology, Akure, even at the level of NANS, we never planned protests. There were selected protests that we planned. Those were protests maybe participated by students and democracy groups during the military regime. Maybe
civil society organizations.
NADECO then, the Campaign for Democracy, we were the students' wing. We had elders, we planned protests. But there were protests that were spontaneous. In this End Bad Governance protest, it is a planned protest. The first thing you should do is to have identifiable leaders that will lead the protest. Each state and the FCT.
So that it will be faceless.
At all. It won't be a faceless protest. I heard the news that some juveniles carted away goods under normal circumstances, my brother. Juveniles are not even supposed to be there.
Yeah, we even saw one 8-year-old carrying a placard.
You see,
saying my father can't pay my rent, our rent,
and
my school fees and all of
Well,
that.
you see, that one is even different. I just talked about stealing, looting. If you say an 8-year-old went on the streets carrying that kind of placard, I'll say definitely it's justified. By my own standard, it's justified. But you see, in this case, in most of the states of the Federation, there has not been identifiable leadership. Yes, the IG came out and said all the organizers and the leaders of this protest must come out, register themselves. The only 2 places I saw was Abuja. I saw Deji there, Deji Adeyanju, leading the protest in Abuja at just one venue. Then the other place I saw this guy, I think Magana, one of the, I think Gombe or so, he led the protest there. And in those 2 places, at those two venues, those protests were peaceful. At a point in time, Deji and the others turned it to a carnival. You understand? But they made their points known. So, under normal circumstances, because this protest has not been planned well, you must have pockets of violence. It is, you can't say you won't have pockets of violence. But at the same time, I have had reports of where there have been police provocation. You see, when people are protesting, in many areas the police have been professional, but in some areas there have been provocation. That's the truth. When people are protesting, the police should know that before a protest can come up, anger has been brewing. People have been angry.
So the approach must be different.
Yeah! Coupled with the fact that I was reading an article on Facebook yesterday, and someone was talking about the comment passed by the Senate President before the protest. Very vile comment, very, very vile comment.
They should protest. He
said the protesters can go and protest
while they will be
eating.
And meanwhile, the mantra for the protest has to do with hunger.
And you are expecting people not to get angrier. So the police in some areas have even sparked more anger. You get what I'm saying? If you are saying people are protesting, they have the right to go on the streets. Even you should not restrict their movement. You have the right.
Should provide
security. But in many areas, you just throw gas canisters at them. It is because, my brother, it is because this protest has not been planned well. In our days, whenever we wanted to go for protest, we carried kerosene. Yeah, if you throw gas canisters at me, tear gas, I'll just bath myself with kerosene and follow you.
Why?
Yeah, because that's the chemistry of it. I'm a scientist. Most of us were scientists in school. If you neutralize it, you won't even feel that there is tear gas anywhere. Yeah, we used to. Then, as at that time, we used to build carbide bombs in Coca-Cola bottles. If you shoot at us, we'll throw it at you.
Interesting.
You know, because the moment you provoke, the moment the security agencies provoke the protesters, there will be a multiplying effect. Late Chief Danifa Wemi said something I want to remind you during the Alimos Go protest when he was defending the students of Ahmadu Bello University. You know what he said in court? He said, in a state of pandemonium, it is illegal to be law-abiding. Listen, in a state of pandemonium, it is illegal to be law-abiding because the feigned innocence of the weak constitutes the trouble. So, the moment you, as security agents, spark trouble, you spark wahala in town against protesters, and you expect them not to react, you expect them not to come up, you expect them not to go violent. People who are already hungry and angry. You get what I'm saying? So, it is on both sides.
All right, now looking forward, Dr. Lebi Moyo. Fine, you were at the Hems of Affair of the Youth Coalition at one point. And
with 46 youth conglomerates under it.
Okay, now looking forward, in case we're going to have this kind of protest in future, what are your expectations? What are those things you'd like to tell the ones coming behind you in terms of how to handle this? Because normally, look at what happened in Kenya. When that protest started, it also went violent. So normally, people will always say, or government will always want to say, don't go ahead with this protest because it will go violent. Why? Some people will hijack it. Who are those that will hijack it? Those who are not learned, those who are street urchins, those who are not even aware of what they are even protesting about. Because most of those juveniles only came out to loot, to steal.
And don't forget, don't count them alone. Count the vile politicians too. The greedy politicians who don't want the protest in the first place.
Okay.
You get me?
All right.
They will also send thugs. We remember the case of NSAS. They sent thugs to town.
And we also saw the situation in this particular hashtag end bad governance, where some people were protesting 2 days before that, they saying that no, they don't want that protest.
Counter-protest.
So, protest. So generally, talking about protest, what will you want to remind the youth or those organizers who have for now faceless, we hope that they'll have a face in future, how to go about it, considering your own experience, the way you went with your own protest way back?
You see, I will say my own experience, or our own experience. I'm talking about my experience with the likes of Yele, Showore, because we are in the same generation of activism. I'll say our experience then was a little different because we faced the military. Now, the youths of today are facing a democratic regime. We are still part of it anyway. But you see, the case then was different because we went through a lot, probably because we hadn't had, family then. There was no fear. We had no fear. We faced soldiers. But you see, even with the experience, even at that, with this hard-fought democracy, because we fought hard for this democracy. With the hard-fought democracy, I think we should protect the democracy by all costs, at all costs. Even with the impunity we see in government and in governance. Like what I just said earlier, provocative words coming out from their mouths. But you see, in the future, what our advice is this. you want to plan a protest, there are two ways to it. There are planned protests and there are spontaneous protests. If you want to plan a protest, the first thing, as I said earlier, is to have identifiable leaders. Before you even go on the protest, try to seek dialogue. Before you go on the protest. Because if you seek dialogue, there may be no need for the protest.
So you must expend
all avenues. I read the 15 demands of the organizers. Normally I told you here, I said, if I was not on bed, I would be on the streets. Normally, I should be on the streets. But going by the demands, there is one of the demands that will make me go on the streets.
And which one was it?
Asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. My brother,
Unconditionally.
Personally, I don't buy that. That shouldn't come with this kind of protest. This is hunger protest. It has nothing to do with a man fighting for the emancipation of his people. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't marry together at all. But the remaining 14 demands bring back fuel subsidy. Yeah, I agree. Let fuel subsidy come back while you continue to look for a long-term solution. So in the future, if they want to do this kind of thing, they should seek for dialogue. If they have sought for dialogue with the president or his team, probably before the protest, the president might have rolled out some measures to douse the tension. There may not be need for protest. After seeking for dialogue, if there is no way, then you can now come out and say you want to protest with leaders that can curb your activities. So that you can now tell the security agents, these are our protesters, those thieves are not. So that they can know the difference. You get what I mean? So that they can know the difference. So that you can even tell the security operatives that come. Before this protest, we have had Jojo. Even these counter-protesters never told the police that they will counter-protest today. Those counter-protesters coming out are illegal. I'm telling you.
Because apparently you got their permission.
Yeah, of course, you as protesters got the permission.
And you have a face.
Of course, but they don't even have a face.
Interesting.
They are illegal. You know, if you had planned all these things well, there won't be pockets of violence, there will be killings.
All right, before I let you go, what will be your parting shot, Dr. Levimoyo?
My parting shot will be that listening to the speech of Mr. President. To me, with due respect to Mr. President, that speech is watery. Because the speech is supposed to alleviate what is happening. It's supposed to douse tension. During protest, you don't come out reeling out your achievements, even achievements that are not feasible.
But you also called for calm.
Yeah, really called for calm. Calling for calm is not what really matters. What really matters is meeting the demands of the protesters.
And how you want to go about it.
How you want to go about it. You get what I mean? So listening to him, I don't think that's enough. But he said something, he said they should embrace that. And I want to call on the protesters to embrace that.
Thank you very much. I've been talking to Dr. Levimoyo, a student union leader in the 90s here in the military region, the former organizing secretary of the Group Governance Group, former president of the Nigeria Youth Coalition, full member Amnesty International. Dr. Levimoyo, once again, thank you very much for coming. And I appreciate you and wish you quick recovery.
Bless you, my brother.
It's still Last Week in Nigeria. I'll be back with you shortly. All right, for some sports and gist on Last Week in Nigeria, as reported by the national dailies last week, we have this one concerning the ongoing Olympics 2024. And alongside the story that has to do with Ian Acho. Ian Acho is saying, I can't wait to meet Jesus. Of course, not Jesus Christ in this, but I'm talking about Jesus, the footballer, as he joins Sevilla. Of course, we also have this one concerning Osimhen. Osimhen celebrates Napoli at 98. And on our question and answer, where we want you to give out our 5,000 naira recharge card of the equivalent currency you spend in anywhere you're listening or watching us from, It's about that time we celebrate Sarah, who won the last question that we asked on this program. And let's put a call through to Sarah now. Sarah gave us the correct answer. In fact, she was the first person to answer correctly. And we're about to reach out to her now because we did via her handle. First of all, she's a subscriber. And she did a video ahead. All of this you can do also to be a part of this show. So Sarah, how are you? Hello Sarah, can you hear me? Hello, how are you doing? Hello Sarah, can you hear me? So, congratulations, you won the 5,000 Naira recharge card courtesy Last Week in Nigeria producer. All right, and you've been following the program for a while now. What are your comments? All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you for being a part of it. Don't forget, share, comment, and of course, like every episode, including this particular one where you have been celebrated as you get the credit of one of the 5,000 Naira recharge card of any network you want to use. That will be done immediately after this call. Hello, Sarah. Congratulations to you once again. You're welcome. So that's how we do it on this show. We get to ask questions and you get to win for yourself a 5,000 Naira recharge card of any network wherever you are in the world. All we need to do is to credit you that 5,000 Naira Nigerian money equivalent, and then you enjoy yourself. At least to appreciate you for spending or burning your data to watch us on this program every week. So, I have other stories to take, but this is the much the time will permit me. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Last Week in Nigeria. Our website is www.lastweekinnigeria.com. And of course, keep the conversation going. Let's keep talking about all of this that matters concerning our nation, Nigeria. On behalf of the entire production here, my name is Emmanuel Uriowo. Bye for now. Stay out of trouble.